Hello, Rachel Service here, the CEO of Happiness Concierge and the author of There Has to Be More, the Essential Guide to Personal Growth. Yay! We're at one of my favorite sections, although I do say that about most of the exercises that isn't in this book. We're here focusing on your confidence equation. What is a confidence equation? Well, if you've got your pink book, if you've got the book, you can dial into page 36. And if you're in your workbook, you can dial into page 11. Let's take a look. So what is confidence? Well, fun fact, it's not a personality trait. Whew, isn't that neat? No, it's a skill. Confidence is a skill. And I'd like to share with you an equation we use at Happiness Concierge for helping ourselves and those in our care and audiences across the globe and people just like you actively work on their confidence and their competence as a skill rather than a personality trait. And here's the equation. Confidence equals evidence plus validation and self-belief. I'll say that again. Confidence, what it equals is evidence, validation, and self-belief. Or another way of looking at it is self-belief plus validation plus evidence equals topping up your confidence bank. For example, when we think about evidence, often when our confidence can take a wobble, and I've spoken about this earlier when we go into our learning zone, it can be really easy to forget cold, hard evidence, facts that show that you've either A, done a great job, B, you're competent, C, you're contributing, D, you're amazing, E, you're awesome, and so on and so on. And so when we look for tools of evidence such as achievements, such as contributions, such as things we've delivered or finished or closed or contributed to, we can start to actually really stack up our achievements and look at that evidence, as I've mentioned, as separate to us using tools of self-reflection. When we look at validation, I don't know about you, but so often we can look for validation from people who share proximity to us, who we mightn't have the highest regard for. How many times have you asked for a piece of feedback from someone, from either a people leader or a team member or a peer or a family member or a friend who hasn't done what you're A, looking to do, and B, hasn't seen you at your best self, and C, is capable of thoughtful, gentle, kind, specific pieces of validation. In a study of people who were validated before conversations and a study of people who were not validated before conversations, it was found that people who were validated, their moods actually increased throughout the study. Isn't that amazing? So we know the power that validation can have in a conversational setting. What I'd like to invite you to think about in your confidence equation is how you can pop in moments of validation from people you either respect, admire, or look up to. And the third part is self-belief. Self-belief is an incredible thing, isn't it? It can help us soar to success, or it can really take its time in holding us back. And self-belief, it can actually be understood by looking at it by being clear on what I want, being clear on my belief that I can achieve what I want to, and then having the confidence then to take action. I know what I want, I'm clear that I can, and I know finally that I deserve the good stuff that comes my way. Which is why confidence is a little complex at times, because when our self-belief can have a little bit of a wobble during times of change, and growth is a time of change, our validation can get lowered when we're doing something new, maybe from people around us, or how often do we go out and get our validation every day from people we respect and admire? And the third part being evidence, really topping up those evidence moments of concrete evidence, of concrete facts that you've done a great job or contributed in a meaningful way, I should say, can really add up. So the reason I'm drawing your attention to page 11 on the workbook and now page 37 of the pink book, of the big book, There Has to Be More, is I'd like to invite you to do a really fun task we actually do at Happiness Concierge to prepare people for A, performance reviews, B, creating your own elevator pitch, and C, preparing for growth. It's called the Achievement Audit. And here's how it works. take a moment to cast your mind back to things that you've achieved in the past. And it's okay if at first you're thinking, oh, I can't remember any time I've achieved anything. Bear with me. Think about what you've achieved in the past, big or small, what the impact was and what you learned as a result. For those of you who have attended our Happiness Concierge training, you might also recognize this as our AIL framework, the achievement audit. So I'm going to pose to you the following questions in our video series today and populate it with a few examples to guide you on your journey to personal growth. Step 1, the first question is, take a moment to write down your achievements, and you can use either the start of the week, the month, or even the year if that's applicable to you. If you're watching this and the year's just begun, you can think about the year prior. What have you achieved in this time period? Achievements might comprise getting through a pandemic, making my bed, having a great conversation with someone I care about, finishing a great piece of work, having a loving relationship with my partner, staying relatively sane during times of change, working on my emotional regulation, debuting a new pink suit, for example. That could be one such example. What have I achieved? The main rule is there's nothing too small that you can't put on this list. If you're using this to prepare yourself for writing your elevator pitch or indeed your performance review, getting prepared to have a great conversation, you might think about, what are some projects that I've completed? What are some outcomes I have contributed to? What are some stakeholder relationships at work that I've really fostered? And what systems have I put into place to bring great outcomes to life? So now the second question is, what was the impact? What was the impact of your achievement? And more specifically, how did it make you feel? So an example for a small achievement, I made the bed. What was the impact? Well, it gave me a sense of momentum throughout the day. As a result, I felt so organized and I was able to have a great day and actually achieve quite a bit. In the example of implementing a new system of work, what was the impact? Well, a number of people were able to do their jobs more efficiently. What was the impact, using the example of having a great conversation or a hard conversation at work with my partner in life? Well, the impact might be, I feel relieved, it went better than I expected, or it went differently to what I expected, but you know what? I was clear on my boundary, or I was able to communicate my needs, most importantly, and further to that, I was able to hear how the other person felt as well. So that was good data, as we say too. And the final question, which is, what did I learn as a result? When you look back to your achievement or achievements, and you look back to the impact, here's the key to growth, reflecting, right? What did I learn about myself, about my environment, about my job, about others, about life as a result? Using the example of making my bed, well, what was the impact? I had a great sense of momentum throughout the day. And what did I learn? Momentum can be as simple as doing one tiny thing: having a shower, getting dressed, making my bed, heading out the door for a walk. What I learned is that when I'm feeling stuck, I can actually just take one tiny step forward by taking one tiny act of momentum, and then the whole day kind of gets kickstarted from there. In the example of the achievement of having a nuanced conversation, and the impact was that you learned about someone else's point of view. The impact was that you had a great conversation, rather. What you might have learned is how somebody else sees things. What you might have learned or had reminded to you is what you can control. And you might have learned that you can do hard things. It might feel icky and uncomfortable at times, but the outcomes are really awesome, or you've got less stress about having the conversation. So as you go through this, so there's no wrong way to do it, of course, just take a moment to write down your achievements, the impacts, and how it felt. And I strongly urge you to do this weekly, monthly, quarterly. I know I do this regularly because you know me, I'm always looking ahead, and I need to actively put structures in place to remind myself to reflect, to observe on what I've learned. For some people, they like to do that with an achievement audit. I like to do that with an achievement audit and check in with my coach. Other people like to check in with their counselor or therapist or friends. There's no wrong way to do it. have fun with this exercise, and I bet you'll be surprised by what you have achieved. And I'm excited to hear how this lands for you. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Reach out to me and any of the Happiness Concierge team by emailing hello@happinessconcierge.com. Thanks for watching and have fun. Permission to have fun.